Another year, another failed process. Will Doc Rivers join the latest list of fired coaches? Today on Hoop Talks. I'm Noor Zainab, Justin Pooni, Crina Mustafa, Jelani Goodridge-Reid, and today we're here to celebrate the demise of Philadelphia.
Whoa. I don't know about celebrating.
I am celebrating. Round of applause, everybody, for the Celtics. Jayson Tatum, 51 points. You did it. Never seen someone... Man, I'm not done my monologue. Never seen someone fight so hard to hit the basement in their own talent pool and then come right out and grab their team from the binoculars. Maybe not binoculars, maybe something else. But grab their team by the horns and brings them out to a victory over
by the collar.
Yeah, by the collar.
Binoculars.
Yeah, the binoculars.
I don't know what we're talking about.
You if you grab binoculars, they have the string around you that just rip off.
Okay, we have 15 minutes. Let's not go over my English right now, okay? Anyway, they beat the MVP, Joel Embiid. Not my MVP. I'm gonna say that one more time on here. But guys, the process has been going on for the past 10 years. Actually, this year is their 10-year anniversary of starting the process. And what have they to show for it? A bunch of second rounds, but maybe a couple Eastern Conference semifinals, but not one appearance in the Eastern Conference final. So, Jelani, I'm going to start off with you. Why hasn't the process worked?
Well, I don't know, because at this point, you would expect them to do something come playoff time, right? That was the goal. The goal was for them to win a championship under, Joel Embiid. Of course, they had Ben Simmons at the time, and it's still possible, right? We don't know what the future holds. But at this point, you have to be disappointed with their effort in Game 7, okay? Yes, I had the Boston Celtics winning the series. You were Boston Celtics, Noor. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I also believe Jayson Tatum gave us one of the best performances ever. That was such a great game he played. He did not miss any shots. He was 60% from the field and downtown. But when you're talking about the Sixers, man, I look at Joel Embiid. Okay, you guys know me and that whole Jokic Embiid thing, right? But I was kind of disappointed with the guy. You come up on the road, right, and only give me 15 points. That's not 50. That's the other side of things.
If he gave you 50.
Yeah, I know.
If he gave you 50.
15. That was disappointing, man, honestly. And the way that he and Harden, right, did not stop the bleeding in that third quarter. Third quarter outscored 33-10. You cannot have that. You cannot have that in a do or die game. Harden, 9 points. Come on, man. Really? I know he's focused on Houston. Okay, that seems to be where he wants to go. He's focused on Houston. It seemed like it, right, the other day, because he wasn't playing. To me, I saw him very passive. I don't know what it was, but especially in that third quarter, when you needed to score, this guy's always kicking it out. He had opportunities, maybe just a quick jumper, a quick floater, push shot. No, he kept kicking it out for a bad look. And I was disappointed in Harden, honestly, because we saw the good James Harden and we saw the bad. So that's what we get with him. So overall, you look at Doc Rivers too. I don't know. The process has not worked.
Yeah,
clearly.
And for me, their duo, Embiid and Harden, combined for 8 of 29 from the field on an elimination game. If you want to win, you're not going to go anywhere with that. So Justin and Crina, to both of you, I want to ask you guys, does this say more about Philly, this loss, or more about the Celtics being a good team?
It's tough, right? Because it feels like with the 76ers, they get so close and they're never able to close it out. I think this series was probably the closest it's been for them in a while. And yeah, the Celtics were good. That performance from Jayson Tatum was very much needed for them to succeed. So I think it was a mixture of the 76ers, no matter what adjustments they were trying to make, it was not working. Yeah. And in the end, the Celtics ended up just running away with it, which was a bit disappointing. So I think it's a mixture of both, honestly. I think it's a mixture of the Celtics being good when it mattered and the 76ers not showing up when they needed to.
The Philadelphia 76ers and the whole process has been an absolute failure. It's been a failure. You think about it. The best player they draft.
That's a trigger word in the NBA now.
It's a failure. Yeah, I know. Now we'll watch. Hey, if Nike, you want to give me an ad for saying the word failure? Please do. But when you look at all the draft picks, the Nerlens Noels, the Ben Simmons, the Markelle Fultz, the list goes on and on. The best player they got out of all that was Joel Embiid, right? They could have had Jayson Tatum. People forget that. They traded up to number 1 to draft not Jayson Tatum, not even Lonzo Ball, Markelle Fultz. And he's done great. Hey,
he was nice at Washington, though.
He was.
Nice.
I saw him and Lonzo play at Washington.
I still would have taken Tatum.
And I think, look, I still would take it. Exactly. Yeah. Markelle's turned his career around in Orlando, but it all goes back to me to that Game 7 in Toronto, the Kawhi shot. That, to me, was the best moment they had to get through. That was the best Philadelphia team. That team should have won the
That was their best shot.
That was the best team they've had. And ever since then, it's just been getting perpetually worse. They choked against Atlanta in Game 7 at home, which was horrible. Last night, they didn't even show up in Boston.
Yeah.
Just did not show up. And look, the regular season MVP, the MVP is a regular season award. Joel Embiid deserved the MVP of the regular season, but this playoffs did not show up. You are the MVP, right? And one thing, I was listening to a lot of post-game stuff. Shaq always said that if you are the guy, you have to elevate your game in the playoffs. If you average 30 points in the regular season, you got to average 33 to 35 in the playoffs.
Scoring champion, right?
Right? Mm-hmm. I didn't see that from Joel Embiid. Once again, James Harden came up flat in his face. Doc Rivers is holding on to that 2008 title that the big three got him like it's dear life, because that's the only thing he's known for now.
Before you get to
other
Doc
than choking
Rivers,
leads and stuff like that.
Before you get to the choking and the Doc Rivers, I want to actually segue into that, because Doc Rivers is going to have a pretty, I want to say, entertaining summer, a little confusing summer, probably the most stressful summer of all the coaches out there, because he's the one coach that has actually blown 3 separate 3-1 leads. He also has the most closeout losses in NBA playoff history, 32 losses in 49 games. So how much of this falls on Doc Rivers? And is Doc Rivers the next one out the door in the NBA head coach's race right now?
I mean, you got to look at it and look at what he's done since getting there. I think even when he got hired, I think it was kind of a surprise, right? Because he had just failed in LA with the Clippers. So, and he got hired quickly after that. But I look at this situation, and, you know, Justin talked about the failure, right, with the Sixers. I truly believe he's got to go, man. I'm not going to put it all on him, but at this point, you're looking at the last few years. This was the clearest path. This might not have been the best team that the Sixers have had, because I think the 2019 version was better than this, but the path was easier, because 2019 they would have met up with MVP Giannis in the conference finals. It would have been tough than the Warriors.
A young Giannis, though.
Yeah, right here though, what you get Miami? Yes, Jimmy Butler, he's balling, but still, right? There's a path there, and then you never know what could happen after that. You still got the MVP on your team. So Doc Rivers, to me, he's failed too many times, man. I feel bad for the guy at this point. I really do, because I would think, you know, he would get over that hump. It's been so long, right? And even with the Sixers as a franchise, they've been waiting since 2001, I think, was the last time they went to the conference finals. I mean, at this point, I don't know who they're going to bring in, though. That's the other thing. Sorry, that's the other thing. Yeah, I'm trying to. You have to. Whenever you say, okay, I want a new coach, who's going to be that guy, right? You can't always just say, okay, let's put in a new guy, a new voice in this locker room. You have to make sure that it's a good voice and somebody that can actually coach. Because I think Doc is good, but he just can't get it done.
My question surrounding all this is, like, how much of it is on the coach and how much of it is on the players? Because the coach, I think Doc Rivers was still making adjustments within the game, but if your players can't actually execute on those adjustments, then whose fault does that end up being? And I think with the 76ers is, like, it feels like they've had their window closing for a bit now. The players are good, but, like, what do they need to do to take that next step and execute in the games they need to? Because honestly, I think a lot of us were worried that the Celtics were going to lose this series, but now look what happened.
My heart was in my throat the entire series. I was like,
I actually didn't have any doubt that they would win the series, even when they won that game, Game 5, when Embiid was balling, right? I still felt like the Celtics were going to win the series.
I picked Sixers in 7, right? But this series was lost in Game 6 in the fourth quarter. When Jayson Tatum went off,
it's true.
It was over then.
And remember, Embiid took no shots.
No shots.
That's
and
your MVP? Okay, cool.
Joel Embiid, I'm tired of Joel Embiid playing on the perimeter.
I've been saying that for years.
Big. You are that strong. Bully people.
I've been saying that for
years. Get in the paint.
He does bully people already.
Yes, Doc Rivers deserves a lot of the blame, right? But at the end of the day, the players themselves have no accountability on grabbing. We heard Joel Embiid post-game too. Zero accountability.
Yeah.
You are the MVP of the NBA, right? The league voted you the most valuable player. And you had a chance to close out the Boston Celtics at home with their best player, Jayson Tatum, shitting the bed in a major way.
For pretty much most of the series. Until the very end.
The entire series, right? and then you don't close them out on your home court, and then you go back to Boston and you no-show. Quite frankly, for me, yeah, Doc Rivers has some blame, but a lot of it's got to go on these players. They did not show up when it mattered the most. They turtled, and the Boston Celtics' best player was the best player on the court last night, and it.
Yeah, I know. I saw people talk about Joel's postgame and say, well, there's context. All I saw was him say, I played great, so did James Harden. Where's the other people? And I'm like, did you see PJ Tucker in the first quarter? Did you see Tyrese Maxey the entire series? Did you even have a look at Tobias Harris? Like, everybody came through, but as a main guy, you got to hold a little bit of accountability, a little bit of self-awareness, maybe.
The problem, though, when PJ Tucker's going off, I think that's when we knew this team wasn't winning.
I also want to talk real quick about Tobias Harris. I think this series, he was really disappointing. If he showed up in some type of way, they would have had a better chance. He didn't really do much.
Do you guys find it's the touches? Like, what's up with that team? Because when Embiid wasn't there, you saw so much more ball movement. Everybody was a little bit involved. So, and obviously Embiid coming back, he should draw the attention, demand the ball and everything. But I almost find it kind of shuts the other guys off. But we'll talk about that as a different day. To stay on the subject of Doc Rivers, though, he, again, like I said, he might be joining a bunch of other coaches. I think this NBA summer is going to be the free agency of coaches, actually. It's going to be, we already saw Nick Nurse as a part of it. Mike Budenholzer, Monty Williams just got let go from the Suns. And we, like I said, we might be seeing Doc Rivers. Thankfully to Dwayne Casey, though, he did go up a ladder in terms of just not getting let go.
Yeah.
That's a win. For Dwayne, that's a win. Come on now. Front office, the Brad Stevens type of move. That's a win.
In Detroit?
But of all the new coaches who are now coming to fruition and we know that they're going to be available, someone like Mike Budenholzer, maybe even Monty Williams, Doc Rivers if he's available. Is any of those coaches something that you could see work out in Toronto once the new season begins? Or Masai trying to get them on board?
I mean, if I'm Masai, I'm throwing all the money I can at Monty Williams.
Hell yeah.
If I'm Masai, look, I'm calling Monty Williams every day. please, whatever it takes, we will write you a blank check. Please come and coach here, right?
That's the first time I've heard
that to me was the most shocking thing. Yeah. Monty Williams getting let go, because I think Monty Williams is a very good coach.
He's a good coach, right? But at the same time, I love him. But at the same time, there were issues with his, with his management on the court and stuff like that. But he was, made to be the scapegoat in this situation. Exactly. It wasn't his fault.
No,
that the Suns
DeAndre Ayton is probably one of the biggest busts in NBA history, right?
Okay,
Chris Paul's never hurt, right?
And they didn't have a bench.
Look, they have no. If I'm Masai Ujiri, I'm calling Masai. I will even call Monty Williams for you on your behalf. Call every day. Every day. I know I look at the wrong camera. My bad. But look, every day you got to call Monty Williams. I think that's the.
Well, they better hurry up because the Bucks want him.
I think Monty goes to Milwaukee.
The reports are saying they're trying to get him right now.
How funny would it be if Nick Nurse goes to Philly?
Oh, please no.
I feel like that fits. Nick Nurse fits in Philly. Does he
How
not?
funny would that
bothered
be?
me.
That ego with
that
the
bothered me
Phillies.
so much. I do not want that to happen. Please stop.
He's going to have our number in the playoffs for sure, but I think he fits so well there in that Philly vibe with Nick. Nick's going to have his merch sold out. They're going to have the end all across Philadelphia. I can see that happening, but I also see him going to the Bucks just because of I feel like that's his home turf as well, right? He's from the Midwest, Iowa. It kind of works out for him if he wants to, but I also think he's a lights in the face kind of guy. So I don't know.
It's been kind of weird that Nick Nurse hasn't got an interview yet, though.
This is what I was about to say. What's been very weird to me is it's been silence around Nick Nurse in terms of everything.
There's
in terms
not
of
been one thank you.
Which teams are interviewing him? Why none of the Raptors players have said any kind of thank you?
He hasn't even released a statement himself yet.
The only acknowledgement we got was Masai in that presser after the season.
Do you guys think that maybe Nick Nurse just is telling teams hey, I want to just take time off?
Yeah,
probably.
I don't want to coach.
He's still involved in Canada basketball, so maybe he's just focusing on that.
He wants to take a little bit of a breather.
He could have that coming up in the summer and then being maybe you want to take a year off and see what happens. But I think he'd also just be prioritizing that right now and then worrying about what's to come after that. I mean, we know he has nothing to worry about when it comes to money. He'll be fine for a year or two. He can take a vacation if he wants to.
I think the Suns should take a look at him because they need to fix their defense up.
And get Fred VanVleet too.
Yeah, what if Fred goes over?
I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked if that happens. It might happen.
You want Chris
I don't
Paul
want
here?
it to, but
everybody wants Chris. Apparently, people want Chris Paul in Toronto now. I'm
Chris Paul's gonna retire.
Really?
Yeah, I saw that. You said that yourself, Justin.
I didn't know. I said
Chris Paul.
No,
I
did not say that.
Am I getting 2008 Chris Paul?
38.
What I said was this.
Yeah.
I said Fred VanVleet holds all the cards. If he wants to go to Phoenix, right, he will sign in Phoenix. If he wants to be nice to the Raptors, give a sign and trade. You might have to take a Chris Paul contract on to make that sign and trade work, right? Yeah. That's all I was saying. I don't want Chris Paul in the Raptors.
I know, but I'm saying in terms of other people that I've seen you too, to be we could take Chris Paul if you wanted to, but I'm you're really only benefiting the Suns then. So what's happening for us?
You could take if you get a first round pick from the Suns for that.
They don't have any left over anymore. The first round picks are gone. They traded four for Kevin Durant.
Back-to-back first-round picks, so they could trade.
They have second round picks, but they have that it.
But they could trade this. They could trade like another whatever they could. I'll figure it out. They probably trade some picks or something, but
I don't know. Justin's gonna have a look at the NBA trade
I'll call
machine
Bobby
and let us
Marks.
know
Also, watch out with Ty Lue. Apparently, the Bucks are linked to him. I don't know what's going on.
I heard the Suns too, right?
I don't know.
Imagine that, Ty Lue in Phoenix.
It's gonna be interesting.
Nick Nurse and the Clippers.
NBA. Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay. The NBA playoffs aren't done yet. As you can tell, Justin can't even wait to talk about the next episode so far. But we're going to have so much more to talk about because once the playoffs are over, that means the NBA free agency for players, for coaches, everything begins. And we'll be right here covering all the latest stuff, whether that be rumors, actual credible sources, or just stupid opinions that we might have. We'll see you guys later.